Alright, we're gonna start this video off Peter McKinnon style. Huh, not bad. And you could definitely hear that fall. Okay, whatever. Let's just get started. So for the past few months, I've been playing around with the GoPro HERO8 and testing out various settings to see what I like best and what I use the most often, in hopes that I could eventually share some of those settings with you guys as well. But I realized that I've never actually talked about action cameras on this channel before, and it got me thinking whether or not I would even recommend the HERO8, which is still currently the most recent GoPro model, especially to someone who was just starting out. First of all, this camera was released last October, and since its release, a few other really cool action cameras have hit the market. While in the past GoPro was way ahead of the pack, now there are other companies like DJI and Insta360 that are really pushing their way in and have produced some pretty innovative results. Especially 360 cameras like the Insta360 Go and the 1R have really opened up possibilities for the types of shots you can get on your FPV drone. And when I scroll through my Instagram feed, the types of shots that I see people getting on those cameras are incredibly impressive. By the way, I just recently got Instagram, so if you guys want to follow me, I'll leave a link down below. Feel free, no pressure, I'm just saying. Anyways, at this point, I'd say that there isn't one action camera that completely overshadows the others, and each one still has its strengths and weaknesses. Depending on the type of flying that you want to be doing and what you want your final result to look like, it's still really important that you do your own research and figure out which camera works best for you and your particular purpose. And for me, the GoPro still checks a lot of boxes. Even completely disregarding the camera specs, I believe that GoPro has a great advantage at the moment due to the wide availability of third-party accessories and replacement pieces that are available for its cameras. And I'll get into that a little bit later. Also, if you own an older GoPro, like my beat-up HERO5 here, the batteries have been backwards compatible for the past few generations, so you can use your batteries from the HERO5, 6, or 7 in your HERO8 as well, which is a nice bonus and could save you some money. But the thing is, when you compare the HERO8 to the previous model, the HERO7, the specs aren't actually that different. And with both cameras being able to shoot at 60 frames per second at a 4K resolution, the jump in video quality from the HERO7 to the HERO8 might not be worth the extra $100 price tag for some. And when it comes to FPV specifically, the HERO7 has a few features that I would actually consider to be advantages over the HERO8, and I think some of you guys might prefer the older model. Let me do a quick breakdown. Here are some of the new features on the HERO8 that I would consider nice upgrades for an FPV pilot. HyperSmooth 2.0. HyperSmooth, which is GoPro's internal stabilization, was improved in the HERO8. It's now available on frame rates up to 120, and it has 3 settings: on, high, and boost. While the first two will crop in your image 10%, just like they previously did, boost will crop in your image a little bit more, but it'll honestly make even the worst flying look pretty decent. This could be a benefit if you're just starting out and you want smoother video right off the bat. However, as you improve and learn how to fly better and tune your quad, you will eventually no longer have to sacrifice as much resolution for smoother video. Now, the HERO8 also benefits from having a higher bitrate. The bitrate is the amount of data that is encoded per second in your video. And in simple terms, if the resolution is the size of your frame, the bitrate will directly influence the amount of detail and quality that is picked up within that frame. For example, this video that you're watching right now was shot and exported at a bitrate of 100 megabytes per second. However, if I drastically lower that, we'll end up with an image that looks like this. So, as you can see, a higher bitrate should allow the HERO8 to pick up more details in your videos than its predecessor. Next, we have presets. With the HERO8, you can now make up to 10 different customizable profiles for your settings. Now, every time you want to make a small adjustment, you no longer have to go in and mess with your settings, but with a single click of a button, you can switch from one of your favorite profiles to another. I really like this feature and I use it a lot. I think it really adds to the usability of the GoPro, and I'm really glad they added it. The HERO8 also has improved audio. I'll be honest, I don't usually keep the audio from my flights, so I haven't really tested this out, but I thought I'd include this because some of you guys might find that useful. And finally, very recently, GoPro released an optional firmware update as a part of something that they're calling GoPro Labs. The update gives you access to a few small experimental features that are normally unavailable on the camera, and it also includes an update to the way it interacts with RealSteady. Now, for those of you who don't know, RealSteady is a third-party stabilization software that is incredibly popular amongst FPV pilots and was recently acquired by GoPro. With the firmware update, which I should mention is only available on the HERO8, RealSteady should be able to stabilize footage somewhat even better than before. If you guys are interested and want to learn more about GoPro Labs, I'll leave a link down below. But now, let's look at some of the pros of the HERO7. First of all, removable lens covers. On the HERO8, you can no longer easily replace the lens cover, as this part here is just one solid piece. On the HERO7 and even my HERO5 here, in the case of a crash, if you ever broke this protective glass, you could just twist it and remove it. The first time you do it, it does take a little bit of effort, but after that, all you have to do is buy a replacement piece for a couple dollars and swap them out. With this one here, you do have the option of buying another protective layer of glass that you could stick on the front, kind of like you would on a cell phone. But if it ever does still break, you would have no other option but to buy a whole new GoPro. With the older models, you also have the option of swapping out your lens cover with an ND filter, which I'll talk about more in an upcoming video, but they are very useful for controlling the exposure of your image. Now, there are ND filters that are also available for the HERO8, but instead of replacing your lens cover with one, you now have no choice but to put it on top of your lens cover. Which, honestly, this still works really well, but it's just something to keep in mind that with any camera, the more layers of glass that you put on top of your lens, the slightly less sharp your image will be. Despite the specs listed on both cameras, the older HERO7 is actually lighter than the HERO8 as well. When GoPro did their official weight comparison between the two, they weighed the HERO7 along with a camera cage, claiming that the HERO8 would no longer need a camera cage because of its new retractable mounting arms. However, when it comes to FPV, we don't really use the mounting arms to mount the cameras, so that kind of becomes irrelevant. And if you weigh the HERO7 without the cage, it's definitely lighter. The new folding arms also make the HERO8 a little bit bigger than the HERO7, which means that it will no longer fit in any of the previous mounts that you may have. Because the dimensions were pretty much the same in the GoPro 5, 6, and 7, there are a ton of 3D printed mounts that are available for purchase or download online, many of them made for specific frames. The options available to you for the HERO8 are much more limited, unless you're able to design and print your own. So then, who would I recommend each camera to? Well, if you focus more on cinematic FPV and you want the best quality possible, I'd say because of the higher bitrate and RealSteady updates, the HERO8 could be a good option. As long as you don't crash often, or at least have the money to replace your camera if you do crash, the HERO8 will probably give you slightly better results. However, I think for many freestyle pilots or beginners, I think the HERO7 might still be the way to go. Also, a new GoPro will probably be released at the start of October, which will most likely include updated firmware, as well as some other features that could make it worth the wait. But again, those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Also, if you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a like, consider subscribing. Both of those things really do help me out a lot. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.